1 square mile. And believe it or not, it's a residential neighborhood.
Yep.
Ah, the living are back there as well. Can you believe that? It used to be my neighborhood. I lived back there for about 7 years. Oh, it was great, y'all. I had a cemetery in my front yard. 2 at the end of my block. One way, a crematory mausoleum at the other end, and a cemetery on the block behind me. Baby, I had quiet neighbors.
Yeah.
People died of getting that part of town. You could call it the dead center of the city even.
Aww.
And every year, man, I'd forget about Mother's Day, but it was okay. I had flowers for every occasion. I like living out there. It was great.
Yeah.
But with that in mind, we want to keep some periphery awareness about it. It's not going to be a big deal. You won't have a lot of opportunities over the course of the tour to be in someone's way. But just keep some periphery awareness about you. Be aware of where you're standing and make sure there's not blocking up any walking paths or anything if there are people trying to get by. Now, this most important rule I got. We go into the cemetery, don't touch anything. Now, just tell you a little bit about me, because I just love to talk about me. That's what I know the most about. Now, I've lived in Southeast Louisiana my entire life. I'm from Baton Rouge. While I was in Baton Rouge, I worked for 6 years for the Foundation for Historical Louisiana. I would write and produce a show for them every spring, and then they would use the proceeds to help restore the historic Magnolia Cemetery. So they wrote me to doing cemetery restoration work, and they needed the cheap, unskilled labor as well. I moved here just over 11 years ago now to work in the film industry. Have any of y'all ever worked on a film set before? Yeah? Hey, back me up on this, baby. It's boring. It's a lot of hurry up and wait.
We're 3 seats back.
Now, before we get into this, who can tell me what a Creole is? Oh, you're so lucky you have me. It's remarkably simple, okay? Oh, wait, we're still waiting on a couple people.
I don't know if they're coming out.
Well,
We'll take it. What is that noise?
Now, a Creole refers to someone that was born here while we were still a colony. That's it. Now, here in Louisiana, by default, they were Catholic. They are mostly of French, Spanish, and Afro-Caribbean descent, oftentimes a mix of all three. And the mix of those three cultures was synonymous with Creole culture here in Louisiana, and by extension, Creole food. But I may shock some of you. You know, there's a small group of German Creoles. Yep, part of the state not far from here is called the German Coast. The epicenter of the German coast, a little town called Des Allemands. And Des Allemands is the Louisiana pronunciation of the Allemand, the French term for of the Germans. There are Irish Creoles, Italian Creoles, West African Creoles, but never, ever, ever an American Creole. Literally translated, Creole is taken from a Spanish term, criollo, and it means of the colony. Now, when we start talking colonies down here, we're specifically speaking of Louisiana, okay? And nowadays we'll use the term to refer to someone that traces their lineage back to the original colony. So that's Creole. Now, who can tell me when we became American?
Louisiana Purchase.
Which was in?
1742? I don't know. I'm totally guessing that.
Y'all, it was kind of a big deal. Double the size of the United States.
Yeah, but we didn't study when we were in school.
Oh, who said it? Yes, 1803, gold star. Now the rest of you, I'm gonna help you out with this, okay? Rhymes work, so I got a rhyme so that you'll never forget this. So whenever the Louisiana Purchase kicked off Manifest Destiny, right? I believe that one day America was directed from sea to shining sea. The easiest way to remember the date, in 1803 from sea to shining sea. Use that on a test, impress your teachers. Huh? Yes, 1803, we became American. Let me be clear about something though. We were not happy about it. I don't know if you've noticed, but over 300 years later, we're still so fond of the French heritage here. We will slap a fleur-de-lis on anything that stands still long enough. We take it quite seriously. So you can imagine everyone's dismay. Because understand, this was a French city. A French city that had been ruled by Spain for 40 years. But we became French again for 21 days. Only for France to turn around and sell us off to America. Now, after the Louisiana Purchase, the Americans, they started coming down here by the boatload. And the Creoles and the Americans despised each other. To the Americans, the Creoles were too foreign. They were cliquish, snobby, lazy, decadent, out of touch, and frankly, way too permissive and generally accepting of other races for the Americans' taste. And by the way, a lot of you Creoles are very dark. What kind of a race is Creole anyway? And the Creoles found the Americans to be, well, invading, vulgar, money-grubbing opportunists. And worse, Protestant. Ugh. Understand, y'all, we were Catholic by law here up until we became American. And even after that, we didn't take the Protestants around here without a whole lot of struggle. I'll give you some proof of this from not that long ago, too. You know, the very first Protestant cemetery in New Orleans was the old Girard Street Cemetery. Well, the Girard Street Cemetery no longer exists. You know what we have instead? The Superdome. It's parking garage, actually. So, how Catholic is New Orleans? We bulldozed the first Protestant cemetery in town, built a sports arena's parking lot in its place, then named our team the Saints. That is how Catholic down here in New Orleans. And to the Creoles of the day, the only way to get rid of bad blood was to spill it. The Creoles were notoriously fond of their duels, to the point that for a while New Orleans was the dueling capital of the world. Now, Creoles fought the duels with swords, and they were only fought until first blood. So if you were to get nicked with your opponent's sword, well, that was it. The duel was over. And so people would take their chamber pots and dump them from the windows above into these streets below. Baby, you think Bourbon Street's smelly now? You can only imagine what it must have been like back then. So if you hated your opponent and wanted him to suffer, on your way to the dueling ground, why, you would take your sword and just drag it through all the muck in the street, ensuring that one little nick would become infected and possibly kill them. So that we just shoot each other these days, right? It's so much more civilized. Now, duels were fought in St. Anthony's Garden behind the St. Louis Cathedral because that is holy, consecrated ground. It is the Catholic belief, if you died on holy, consecrated ground, your soul immediately gained entrance to heaven. You could avoid purgatory, prayers for the dead, all that stuff. That's one thing everybody knows about Americans. We love our guns. So duels began to get fought with pistols. It only took a couple of stray bullets going through the back windows of the church before the archdiocese was like, all right, that does it. You got to take this out of town. And so they did. They came to what was then middle of nowhere, the Allard plantation. They fought in between two great big live oak trees that became known as the dueling oaks. One of them, you stand where that stone stands to mark it today, but the other one is still standing. And you notice how sort of lumpy and weird the trunk of this tree looks. It's because whenever an oak tree gets wounded, yes. Well, we lost something like 1,600 trees during Hurricane Katrina, but that wasn't one of them. That one just got sick and died. Yeah. So that's one. Now, anyway, whenever a tree gets wounded, it often will overgrow in that area to compensate. And so that's why the trunk of this tree looks so lumpy and weird. But also, you can still see bullet holes riddled throughout it. Now, on a... Yeah, I mean like in the deep woods, but not out here. I honestly, and I've done some good bit of hiking through this state, I've never had to pick a tick off of me. Yeah, I don't know why. I guess it's been lucky, I guess. And just to go on ahead and answer your question, yes, there are alligators in the bayous in City Park. Not big ones. Whenever they get to be too big, they move them. Now, I mentioned this is all once part of the Allard plantation. Well, Monsieur Allard had no children to leave the plantation to upon his death. And so Whenever he died, it passed to a philanthropist, a man by the name of John James McDonough. McDonough was himself a lifelong confirmed bachelor, if you follow me. And upon his death, he gave the land over to the city with the express intent that it be used for the public good. That is how City Park came to be. Now, I mentioned that Monsieur Lard had no children to leave the plantation to. That is not to say that he didn't have any children. He had one, a daughter, a girl by the name of Lisa. But Lisa made a fatal mistake. She fell in love outside of her class and her race. She fell in love with a young mixed boy from the Irish Channel. Once word spread throughout the city of this great shame that she had brought upon her family, her father was outraged, and he kept Lisa under close watch and lock and key, and had the boy arrested for the crime of miscegenation. Park, and you can still hear the ghost of Lisa as she's wailing and moaning. In fact, she has a nickname. It's Moaning Lisa, or with our local class, Mona Lisa. Hey, look, they can't all be winners, y'all. All right, y'all, let's head back to the bus.
Foot Locker. Kids Foot Locker.
I got it. Oh, excuse me, y'all.
Oh, you're fine.
Excuse me.
No problem. That's an interesting Pepsi truck. Probably refrigerated.
It now. Place your
$1, sir, please.
Got it. Got it.
I got it.
Okay. Didn't know where we're going. I'm not sure either.
where we need to go for the bus.
Formative means, indeed. She took a liking to to General Andrew Jackson, the hero of the Battle of New Orleans in 1815, impressed her with his courage and determination. He defeated the powerful British Army right down the river, 3 miles from here. They were a ragtag army of Jean Lafitte's pirates, Native American Choctaw, a bunch of wild Cajuns, and a few good rednecks defeated the British. He went on to fame and celebration. Jackson would become President Jackson a few years later. Michaela honored him by naming that park on your left, Jackson Square. She converted a boring military parade ground known as Place of the Arms, where the French kept cannon to defend the city. She transformed it into the French formal garden you see here, paid for the cast iron fencing, the furniture, and the monument of Jackson. She also paid to rebuild the cathedral that you see here on our left. St. Louis the Lutheran Presbytery on your right. It's world famous Cafe du Monde. That's where you make your step into the city. your debut with a cup of cafe and we're now approaching the colonnade on the right. The colonnade is a series of quaint little cavernous shops with treasures from all over the world waiting for you. Now, if you're a history buff and you love architecture, on your left, Domain Street is here. About 3 blocks down the street on the left here, and on the left is Madame John's Legacy, the oldest house to survive the fires from the original French Quarter. That house looks like a French West Indies waiter's cottage. It's fabulous and it's famous. It was used for part of the filming of Anne Wright's interview with the vampire when they were removing the coffins from the house. It was Madame John's Legacy. It's being beautifully restored authentically. Here, before you, is our golden girl, the St. Joan of Arc statue. A gift of French President Charles de Gaulle in 1960 when he came for his first visit. She represents the cultural ties New Orleans shares to France. This is stop number 2. The early bird gets the worm. Since 1791, this has been the French market. For thousands of years, home of the Choctaw Indians trading post. Number 3, Marinade, coming up. If you're getting off of the Marinade, again, raise your hand or tap your foot. Up number 5, we'll have restrooms available in the lobby when you enter to the right. What was once the oldest park, known as Congo Square, would become Louis Armstrong Park at the death of our favorite son, then living in New York City where he died in 1971 of a heart attack. 300 years ago under the French, slaves had rights. They would open marketplaces here under the trees, sell goods, make money, buy their freedom, and then could legally marry whoever shared the Catholic religion. There was no racial black or white. Under the French, you could marry whoever you loved as long as they were Catholic. The French believed there was only one human race as taught in the Bible. The story Hollywood forgot to explain. Our next stop will be stop number 5. Restrooms inside to the right when you enter the station. Cafe inside to the left. 9-minute break, everybody. 9-minute break. We'll now be moving to stop number 6 for the Sheraton. If you're getting off of the Sheraton, just raise your hand or tap your foot. It is lunchtime in the city. From 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. every day, it's lunchtime in the city. And lunchtime is approaching in about 15 minutes. Our first Americans did not speak French. They would not, and they were Puritans. They wouldn't live in the French Quarter. They built their own side of the city to the right. They called their side of the city Lafayette. That was to honor the French general, the Marquis de Lafayette of France, who had so strongly fought for American independence from Great Britain and the American Revolutionary War. But they wouldn't call it New Orleans. That didn't set too well with the Creoles, who were the local natives here. They could tell the Anglo-American prejudice. Anglo-Americans were very different. They believed that people of color who were enslaved were not fully human. To justify the evil institution of human slavery, they rationalized away the humanity of black people. That was not French, it was not European in general. So you can imagine the clash of cultures even for something like that right away. No Christmas, no Easter. There was the Puritans were not Catholic. So they disowned all traditions of Catholic Christianity. No Christmas, no Easter, no Mardi Gras in New Orleans. That would take all the reason away to come to the city, apart from the architecture. If you like good Creole food, I will happily point out to you several places. Look to the left. The red awning says Seafood Po' Boys. On the side it says Cajun. And then on the other side of the IHOP, you see Zesty Creole. So what's the big difference between this confusing Cajun versus Creole? The name. The Acadians from Canada did not bring gumbo and Creole food to Louisiana. They learned it from the German-speaking peoples of the 18th century who were already here. They had learned, the Germans learned to make gumbo and Creole food by marriage with the French and the Africans and the West and the Native Americans who were here. at the founding of New Orleans in 1718. Interracial marriages were legal under the French. That's the story Hollywood forgot to explain. Bourbon Street is on your left. For those who want to have an eye-opening experience after 5 p.m., particularly after 10 p.m., look out. Bourbon Street after 10 p.m. when the big girls show up. Oh, these girls are no ladies. The queens of New Orleans will rock your world and give you something to think about. They are the wild theater that never ends on Bourbon Street. Yes, we know how to laugh and have fun in this city, and we're not scared of difference. In this city, we don't use ugly religion and politics to hurt people because they're different. That doesn't work in this city. That might work somewhere else, but it's not who New Orleans is. So whoever you are, whoever you love, that's none of our business. We welcome you to the city. Grandmother always said, "Child, it don't cost nothing to be nice." But Grandpa warned, if you ain't nice, you could end up having a free swim in the Mississippi, yo. Thank you, Grandpa. We appreciate those words of wisdom. You're welcome, child. Our next stop will be stop number 6, the Sheraton. Welcome to New Orleans, everybody. With that smoked sausage, Creole fried chicken, and pork chops. Let's not even talk about the jambalaya. Our first Puritan Americans were scared of the food at first, but after they tasted it, that was it. One of the gifts that were given to us by the West Africans are black-eyed peas and rice, and okra gumbo. The Indians gave us grits and griots, shrimp and grits, jambalaya. No, jambalaya is not failed paella. The Indians were here cooking rice dishes long before the Spanish came to Louisiana. The Germans gave us potato salad with gumbo. Stop number 8. If at any time you want to get off, raise your hand, tap your foot. Okay, you guys are getting off. Go and have a great afternoon. Auf Wiedersehen. You're very welcome. All right, guests coming down. Anybody else? Final call. Stop number 8. You are approaching the birthplace of jazz music in New Orleans. Right down the street, only 1 block from the Superdome, in the 19th century, Buddy Bolden, the father of jazz, made his appearance at the old Eagle Saloon. In the 20th century, a little boy of the name Louis Armstrong would also appear. Louis would go on to world fame and fortune, retiring in Queens, New York, where his home is now a museum. Here on our right, the beautiful hotel with the many windows is the lavishly French Hotel Le Pavillon. It's sat here since 1905. It's got a guest who refuses to leave, the ghost of a little girl. Lots of touching and tickling. Oh, here in New Orleans, you think we're going to sit on a bus all stiff and scary for 2 hours and not laugh and cut up? Forget it. This is New Orleans. This is not Memphis, Tennessee. We like to laugh and cut up. I'm not Pope Francis, and Celeste there is not Oprah. Here in New Orleans, we're going to learn and laugh. We're supposed to. We are different. We love different. Thank God we're not like some of the other cities in this country that are ugly and prejudiced. Not in this city. Former slaves came to the city by the droves. They were talented, skilled workers. Their children weren't selling drugs. They were playing music. Right down here on the right, we're going to turn the corner, and you're going to see the original Eagle Saloon. The original Eagle Saloon is still standing. It's inactive now, but it was the cradle of jazz. As you look to your right, you can see behind that ugly billboard the Holiday Inn, that white building. It's got a huge clarinet painted on the building. That clarinet marks this area, once known as the back of town, as the cradle of jazz. The little red brick building that you see to the right with the balcony above it, that was the old Eagle Saloon. Where on parle en français, mais on fait la narration de voyage uniquement tous les jours en anglais. Vous êtes pas égaré de l'autobus. You're not on the wrong bus. We do speak French here, but have no fear. We will do our tours only in English. And as we turn the corner, look straight ahead to the right. You are entering the city of Lafayette. This city was built in the 1820s and 30s. This was the first American city. They called it Lafayette. Built, notice, far away from the French Quarter. They wanted nothing to do with what they considered a pagan culture. And of course, the Cajuns did not bring gumbo from Canada. Creole food was already in Louisiana. The gift of Native American, West African peoples, French, and Germanic peoples of the 18th century created the food and culture we call Creole. In our city, we're American patriots. We respect the law. And don't think of taking up arms. Grandmother would get out of that grave so quick with that hickory switch and teach us some manners all over again. No, but we believe in moving forward. We're not going to the past. Move ahead. Okay, don't tap your foot up there if you're not coming down. I might have to get my hickory switch after you. Don't do that.
Yeah.
It's an international depot of famous designer brands awaiting you, but do not expect Walmart prices here.
Doesn't matter.
Wherever you want to go, you want to sit outside.
We can check.
Inside, I can find you a table inside.
Sir?
Better. You want to be hot or cold? Already hot, doesn't matter. Right. So if you like the music.
Just water.
Water? Y'all ready to order? I'm gonna use a half. Yes.
That's jambalaya.
No problem. Water's a half of my pound and a jambalaya.
Just like that. And welcome back to stage one more time, our diva of the day, Miss Jane Harvey Brown. All the way downtown Roundbrook.
Crowd went wild. Give it up for the band, y'all. Just stand on the corner. Opens up that. Little tropical music, music on the radio. Kiss, Jane. Oh, I don't know. There you have it. Perhaps one more time.
Test. There it is. Good. Morning, good afternoon. Hi, welcome to the Market Cafe. Sugar Bear and the Jazz Cats have been entertaining you. I'm going to do my best to follow in suit with them. They're a hard act to follow. Thank God I got them. This song is called, well, first of all, where's home? Home for you is? France, I thought so. You came here on a boat? No, you came on a plane. And you traveled on, how did you people get here? In a car. Where's home? Kentucky. Oh, there you go. Kentucky, France, and?
Michigan, and we took the Amtrak.
Michigan. And they took the train.
Yeah.
I love it. Okay, so there's many ways to travel. This particular song is about taking the river. It's called Basin Street. I hope you like it. And listen to the lyrics in French. Écoutez le français alors. And good morning. Won't you come along with me? We're going down the Mississippi. We'll take a boat to a land of dreams, sailing down the river down to New Orleans. There's a band there to meet us. Our grounds help me lose those blues. Thank you very much. Basin Street. Welcome to New Orleans. If you took the train or the plane, the train, or you drove your car, or you flew, or maybe you took a boat, maybe you walked here. I don't know. Maybe you rode a bike. Somebody might have ridden a bike in this group. We don't know. Welcome to New Orleans. Welcome to the Market Cafe. Sugar Bear and the Jazz Cats. We're going to do our best today.
I guess it's officially right here.
Huh?
Officially, this is a spot.
There's like a whole bunch of pictures, like on the walls all the way back to the bathroom. They're cool.
Of?
Like the city.
Oh.
More cemeteries are going to start popping up mixed in the neighborhoods. The further down you get, you start seeing more cemetery than you see neighborhoods. I'm not playing with y'all. Like, at one point on this road, y'all are going to see a 24-hour fitness next to the cemetery. Y'all laugh, but y'all think I'm playing. I'm dead ass serious right now. There is a 24-hour fitness next to the cemetery. I guess you know they think you're working out to kill you so you can get right there afterward. So inclined, you want to get up at 6 a.m. and have a cup of coffee with somebody's dead grandma? That's what you're into? You can do that over there. Me personally, I'd rather go to Starbucks, but hey. To each their own, right? Alrighty, y'all. Let me get some light real quick so I can get my things, and I am going to get y'all up out of this bus. Somebody gonna help Grandma? Yes. Can you pass me Grandma's walker, please?
Mama's got to move first.
Where did you take the picture of the cemetery thing?
I'm not sure.
everybody, I'm gonna start counting everybody else in single file after the grandma can come on, all right? Okay. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. That's everybody. I got 24 people. Grandma, you straight? All right, y'all. I gotta put this lock back on, y'all. I gotta make this special. I'm not trying to lock nobody in here tonight, but I don't want no homeless people to walk in here behind us and scare the hell out of us. So.
Good idea. How do we get back to the bus if she leaves?
Alrighty, y'all. Welcome to the Oddfellows Rest. As I told you guys, this cemetery is owned by a fraternal organization called the Oddfellows. The Oddfellows are called the Oddfellows because they're a fraternal organization that specifically specializes in charity work. Come on, Grandma, you wanna come up here with me? Grandma gonna be my assistant tour guide for the day, y'all, all right? Nothing personal, I just like her better than y'all. You see, Grandma, you good? All right. Now that we got Grandma good straight, we can continue now, all right? Right. So, this fraternal organization, they specialize in charity work. That's why they're called the Odd Fellows, because in the 1800s when they were founded, somebody who cared more about helping others and cared about themselves was considered odd. Kind of the same today. But this is why this organization has their name. In this cemetery, this is going to be the educational part of the tour. This is not where I'm going to have the EMF readers and the spookies. This is going to be the half of the tour that I teach y'all a little something. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm somebody's mama. Y'all was going to have to deal with it. You got to learn. We're going to start with our 4 different burial styles here in New Orleans. To get it out the way, in-ground burial, contrary to popular belief, is possible in New Orleans. And for sure, where all y'all live, y'all got to bury people 6 feet underground. That is impossible here in New Orleans. We cannot. You'll be slid into your vault, and it will be sealed up with brick and mortar, as you can see on some of the ones over here, because the marble faceplates have fallen off. Once it's sealed up with the brick and mortar and you are inside, you will be inside by yourself for a minimum of 1 year and 1 day. If somebody in your family member dies after that year and a day, and your family so chooses, they can have them join you in the vault. Then they slide the next body in. Seal it back up with a brick and mortar, put the marble faceplate back on with the epitaph, and the process starts over again for a year and a day. All right, guys, I'm going to move you guys down and show you guys some more cool spots in here. Come on, Grandma. Grandma, my tour guide assistant, y'all, so shout out Grandma, y'all. Grandma, here. All right, Grandma, you put your seat down, you want to sit? If you need, I used to be a CNA, I can roll you through here. Told y'all in good hands like Allstate. So right here, guys, this is called a coping grave. Coping is a construction term. Basically means to hold something up. You hear it in like roofing terms, things like that often. A coping grave is New Orleans, basically. It's New Orleans close, but no. What they do for a coping grave is they will dig that 4-foot hole, because I told you can't dig it 6 feet. And then they'll surround it by a 2-foot wall. You'll be placed inside of the coping grave down in the hole, and then they basically pile dirt on top of you until the wall fills up. All right, y'all, make room for Grandma, but y'all can all follow me down this way. Long as Grandma got a spot up front. So you said your name is? Claire. Claire. All right, so we've got Allie on the top bunk now, all right? We're gonna break down this brick and mortar. Grandma, can I just readjust this real quick for you? All right, I'm gonna hold it, all right? That way you ain't gotta struggle. Feel better? All right, so we got Allie on the top bunk. We put Claire on the bottom bunk. Claire, we didn't embalm you either. We're going to dress you in your Sunday best, put your nice makeup on, get you together, and slide you in that bottom shelf. We're going to seal this once again back up with brick and mortar. And you will be in there for at least a year and a day. Now, while I'm talking about this year and a day, and I tell you we're not embalming them, if you guys look around, you notice there's not a lot of natural shade in here. This is by design, because we want it to get hot. We want your bodies to break down. You're supposed to disintegrate as fast as possible. And as I told y'all, it's 200 degrees up in this thing. So now, it's been a year and a day since you died. I'm going to pick the next person. You, honey bun, what's your name?
I ain't got no name.
All right. Our little no-name dude in the black, he is going to be the next one that goes. So we're going to say bye-bye to no name now. Say bye. Bye. You're still dead. Serial killer got you just because you're nameless. You still go. All right. So now, we break down this brick and mortar. We've got Allie on the top. What's your name, baby girl? Claire on the bottom. And no name. Where do we put no name now? On the top. Allie is on the top. Y'all just gonna disturb Allie, huh?
Shove them back.
No. What we are going to do is at this point, Allie was the first one to go in there. By the time the third person's going in there, Allie has been in there for a minimum of 2 years and 2 days, cooking at 200 degrees. Allie, my baby, you have fallen off the bone.
What do you think of New Orleans?
It's way different than what I'm used to.
Yep.
I was nervous coming here because of all the bad views and all the bad everything. And yes, there's some sketchy stuff, but it's not as bad as everyone makes it out to be.
If you don't know what you're doing in any bigger city, you can get in trouble. Starbucks is here.
Oh, okay.
There's more restaurants on that street that are neat. Cloud Reefer.
Truck coffee, you said?
I got it down here. Oh, I didn't. I just went this way. You go one more block and then like this is way different now.
What's way different?
This community and like Bourbon Street
The
and
trees and stuff, or what?
all the big buildings and
Yeah. Like we're used to not having any of that.
but I'm saying different than other parts of the city.
Yeah. It's a foot. Yeah. But there's a lot of people.
They take advantage of people. Rich people don't use, well, they use banks, but they don't pay to use them. Yeah, it does. Definitely doesn't seem as hot at the moment. Oh, that's a cafe.
Streetcar cafe.
Yeah. That, I know I walked by the porta potty. Yeah, they had an interesting menu. Omelets and
No, never mind. Apparently that's a big thing.
is it?
Dat is de Liedenheimer.
Use it at the airport. You pay for some stuff. But yes, I agree. I got some change too. Good. I don't know if I got a video of the room at all.
I got a bunch of pictures.
Decent. Not much of a view, but at least we have sunlight.
Yes.
Decent sized bathroom, nice shower. You getting in? Hello.